Welcome back to Language Conventions. This video will focus on an activity called sentence combining. In sentence combining, students combine two or more short sentences into one longer, grammatically correct sentence. To get students started, ask them to practice with combinations of just two sentences. Expand to multiple sentences as students' sentence combining ability develops. This instructional technique is evidence-based and backed in research. In this example, the task is grounded in content by creating opportunities for students to write sentences connected to their learning. In grade 2, students are introduced to the idea of conjunctions. They will require encouragement and scaffolding to use them in their sentences. If they don't master them, it's okay. Remember, the B3 strand of the Ontario Language Curriculum is nicely structured to allow for an introduction of skills in earlier grades and then consolidation and refinement in later grades. In this example, the idea of joining words, conjunctions, that combine contrasting or opposing ideas can be introduced through a model sentence and by highlighting the conjunction used. Winter is very cold, while summer weather can be stifling hot. This task presented to students is scaffolded with the conjunctions provided in brackets. This activity is structured because the desired outcome has been taught and modeled in the previous section. It is also open-ended because the students can choose which conjunction they would use, and the order of the propositions can be changed. In this way, multiple different sentences may be created by different students. How many combinations can you come up with? This is another set of sentences that can be combined. These sentences are still two simple sentences, but they are longer due to the presence of multiple adjectives in the first sentence and multiple verbs in the second. Ultimately, both activities are the same. Only the lengths of the original sentences are different. Grade 2 students can begin to practice combining multiple propositions or ideas into one sentence. Educators can help students to understand that conjunctions function to join ideas together in different ways. In this example, the conjunctions but, whereas, and however all signal a change in direction or opposing propositions. On the one hand, the first proposition or idea refers to warm climates, and the second gives an opposing idea about cold climates. These conjunctions not only join two ideas, but signal a relationship as well. Understanding these functions helps students understand text better, and it helps them to create more interesting and varied sentences in their writing. Here's a sentence combining activity that may be used with students in grade 7 who are learning about the famine in Ireland that caused an influx of Irish settlers to immigrate to Canada. As students get older and they have had many opportunities to work with sentences, educators can keep the combining more open-ended and allow each student to combine in a way that they choose. Educators need to ensure that the sentences generated are grammatically correct, and they can choose specific combinations to highlight and deconstruct with the class. In this example, students are learning about relative clauses, also called adjective clauses. A relative clause is often embedded in the sentence immediately after the subject and is separated from the subject and the predicate by a set of commas. A relative clause often starts with a relative pronoun such as who, whose, which, or that. Remember, a pronoun is a word that replaces a noun. This example is scaffolded so students know which relative pronoun to use. This example is extended to include more than two sentences for students to combine. Students can choose to combine 2, 3, or all 4 sentences as long as they use a relative clause. In this example, the noun ship has been underlined to scaffold the task and to provide students with a clue as to which noun the relative clause might be used. Once students have had many opportunities to engage in structured sentence combining activities, educators can use the activity when texts present an interesting sentence. The educator can deconstruct the target sentence into simple sentences and have students choose how they might combine the ideas. Take a look at the example here. There are 4 sentences. Can you combine 2, 3, or all 4 of these sentences into one sentence? Give it a try. Pause the video here. How did that go? Consider the following sentences and how they differ from each other. The land back movement in Ontario and across North America aims to address historical injustices and identifies the importance of Indigenous perspectives as caretakers of the land. Or this one, the land back movement identifies the importance of Indigenous perspectives as caretakers of the land and aims to address historical injustices, not only in Ontario, but across North America. Or even this one, in Ontario, and in fact across North America, the land back movement identifies the importance of Indigenous perspectives as caretakers of the land while also aiming to address historical injustices. The educator can then have students compare their sentences to the original sentence, and the sentence can be deconstructed for their complex syntactical structures. In this sentence, a set of correlative conjunctions, not only and but, serve to present 2 pieces of related information. Sentence combining activities should first and foremost be connected to familiar contexts. Students need many opportunities to work with specific structures, with scaffolds initially provided and then gradually faded. And as with all activities, educators should meet students where they are and start with activities that are relatively simple and gradually move to the more complex, especially when learning both a new activity and a new concept. Thank you to the staff and leadership team of the Waterloo Region District School Board for sharing their learning and resources for the development of this learning module. And thank you for watching and engaging in learning about syntax and sentence level skills.